Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you for joining today's webinar hosted by the Sikh Research Institute. My name is Rapinder Kaur. Thank you for joining us on Children's Day. Today's webinar is made especially for children, so we welcome you. Today is your day. I know we have some special guests joining us from all over North America and from India, and I hope everyone everywhere feels welcome and feels comfortable participating. This program will be available in both English and Punjabi. Some bits will be in English, some bits will be in Punjabi. So we hope everyone can engage through this presentation. Before we get started, I wanted to review a few important things and let you know how you can participate in today's webinar. Sorry, before that, if you do lose your internet connection or have to restart your computer at any time, you can rejoin the session by using the URL that was sent to your registration email. And now, how to interact. So you can send your questions and participate in today's event by typing it into the chat panel, which is detailed here. You can send the messages to us while the session is in progress and engage with today's presenters. We will also be leaving a little bit of room after each presentation for 1 or 2 questions, so please do send in your questions. Before I introduce you to today's first presenter, here's a bit of background on the Institute. The Sikh Research Institute's mission is to provide educational resources to Sikhs to lead a Guru-inspired life. As a global nonprofit organization, we produce original online courses, research papers, videos, podcasts, events, and books to create the largest go-to source of Sikh knowledge online. Today's webinar will include the following. We will begin with an explanation, followed by an exploration, then a musical rendition of Sabad. Our second hour will consist of puzzling, poems, storytellings, and we will end with an interactive art activity. There's no previous art experience required for this activity, and the only supplies you'll need are basic materials. So a couple of sheets of paper and any of the following. So markers, pens, pencils, whatever you guys feel comfortable using. You can use objects that are found in nature. You can include scissors, glue, or tape. But yes, this is a good overview of what's going to be happening today. You're welcome to hop in and out. As a reminder, this webinar will be recorded. So if you do miss anything, please feel free to come back and follow through any of the activities that you want to follow through on. So now I'd like to introduce you to our first presenter. Jasmine Gore is an educator living in Ashburn, Virginia, with her husband and twins who keep her very busy and remind her every day how blessed she is. Her activity today is titled Creator in Creation and will include an introduction to words about the world in Gurbani and an explanation of Arti Sabad. Please welcome Jasmine Gore.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. If I can get a thumbs up, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sarianu, Jiayanu, welcome. I hear that there. Are you, everything okay, Manvinder? Are you able to hear us?
There seems to be a little bit of a lag on your end, Jasmine.
Okay. Are you able to hear me better now?
Just 1 second.
Okay. Do you need me to test my voice again? Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Are you able to hear me now? It looks like I'm seeing some messages in the chat room where they say you're able to hear me. If I can get a few more in the chat room, that would be great. Looks like I'm able to, I don't see Manvinder right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share my slides. I'm going to put those up and kind of go from there. So I hope that that works. Oh, I think Manvinder just shared the slides for me. I hope everyone can see the slides now. There's 3 pictures on it. It says Babanian Kahanian Divas. Are we able to see the screen right now? All right, so it looks like we're able to see the screen. So let me begin again. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh, Saਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ. I hear that ਸਾਰੇ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ. We're all over North America, India ਵਿੱਚ ਕਈ ਬੈਠੇ ਹੋਏ, ਕਈ ਦੂਜੇ countries ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਣਗੇ. And it's so exciting ਕਿ ਅੱਜ, you know, ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਦਿਵਸ ਹੈਗਾ, right? ਅੱਜ Children's Day haga on June 14th. Actually, I didn't even know that there was a Children's Day. So this was pretty amazing. So every time I think of children and then we think of Sikhi, one thing always keeps coming up in my mind, and that is the Chote Sahibzade a lot for me. And then a long time ago, I had heard a Shabad, and in that, the Shabad talked about what's the line that is on the very top of this slide. It says Babanian Kahanian Put Suput Karen. Okay, so this is kind of telling us that when we talk about the stories of our Babe, so who are our Babe, right? All our ancestors were our Guru Sahibs and the Guru Sikhs around them. When we talk about those stories about them, that is what makes, like, you know, a put is a child, right? A child becomes a suput. So there's only, if you can't read Gurmukhi, and if you look at the 3rd word and the 4th word, there's only one letter that is different between the two, right? The first one is Pappinu Onkar Tata, the next one is Sase, Sasa, Pappinu Onkar Tata, right? So, interestingly, there's only one letter difference. And this kind of is a way of showing us, and if we say it in English, this kind of tells us that, hey, if you want to go from like an ordinary child into an extraordinary child, hearing the brave stories of our Babe and our ancestors is what will make you that. So you have to hear the stories, understand the stories, and take them in. And that's kind of what this day, for me, this day kind of helps me remind us, okay, you know, what are the kind of children that we want to become? We want to become extraordinary children of our gurus, right? So that we can make a difference. So, you know, everyone around the world right now is going through, here we go. Everyone is going through, you know, a difficult time right now, right? Because the coronavirus is there. A lot of us are locked down in our house, or we're just starting to get out a little bit, right? But we're doing this because it's really important for us to stay safe. But, you know, if we look at stories of the Sikhs that are going on right now, there's no difference from what they have done in the past, okay? And that is that all of them are engaged in Seva and Simran, okay? So, and this is happening all across the world, isn't it? All of us are kind of in a similar situation because of this one situation called the coronavirus or COVID-19. And that's okay. But let's go see what Guru Sahib kind of tells us about the world. So when we look at Gurbani, have any of you thought of what are the words that Guru Sahib uses for the word world? I know they're right over here. You can see the words in Gurmukhi, but maybe, tell your mom or dad or anyone who's sitting next to you if you knew any of these words. And I'm going to read them in 1 second, but if you cannot read Gurmukhi, try sharing it with someone sitting next to you or someone around you. So one of the words you can see in English is actually Jagat, right? So that is a word that comes in Gurbani. That's in the very beginning. Now going from the left side of the screen, the words that I'm sure when you listen to some of them, you'll hear them and you'll be like, oh yeah, I knew that one. And that is Dunya. Going down, Jug, which is similar to Jagat, right? It's a part of that. Sansad. I'm pretty sure a lot of you knew that. So we're going 3 on the left, and then we kind of move over, and 1 is Pavan. Is that right? The right side lowest. Then Jagat, which we've already spoken about, but I put it in again so that you can see it in Gurmukhi, and Lo. So there are at least 6 words that, some of my friends from Sikhi, they actually helped me get some of these words, and some of them I kind of knew. So we thought it was nice for you to know that what are the words in Gurbani that are used for world. Okay. Now, next thing we want to do is we want to talk about this special Sabad, okay, that Guru Nanak Sahib wrote. And you may have heard it when you do Soila at night. You may have heard it, agar tusi maybe India vich hage ho, Gurdware sham nu jande ho, Raat Sahib to baad they do Arti, okay? And this Shabad is in Rag Pinasri Mahla Pehla. So we know that it's written by Guru Nanak Sahib. And it starts like this. Says Gagan mein thal rav chand deepak bane tarka mandal janak moti. So you see this picture over here? That is a picture by an artist who listened to the Shabad and felt, how could I make it into an image, and she put it there. So this Shabad is talking about how, first let's talk a little bit about what is Arti. Okay, so in the Hindu faith, what they do is they decorate this beautiful plate, and in there they put like a flower, they put some sandalwood, they put a light, different things in there, and then they take it and they usually go around a little statue. Okay, they kind of turn it around that statue, and so Guru Nanak Sahib, he was writing this, and if you know me a little bit and you've heard me talk, I always talk about nature. I feel like Guru Sahib had a lot to do with nature, okay? And over here, so he's telling us that, you know what? This sky that you see up there, and if anyone has a window, you can look out and you can look up at the sky, right? Or you might be sitting outside and doing this, right? This sky, this is what the plate is, okay? And in this plate, what is in the sky? We know the moon is in the sky. The sun is in the sky. These are the lamps that are in this big, huge plate. And then the stars are like the pearls that are in it. So if you see the picture, you can see it's kind of expressing how this whole world is lit up with, beautiful stars and the moon and the sun. This is what is kind of, we're thinking through. And then he continues on and he says, Tup malyan lo pavan chavro kare sagal ban rae fulan jyoti. So remember I said that they put sandalwood in the plate I was telling you earlier? So over here, he's saying, there's this big mountain actually called Manyal. And from there, what happens is that it has a lot of sandalwood, okay? So the sandalwood smell is so strong that it goes on for miles and miles and miles. So he's saying, the sandalwood is what this incense is. The incense that people put in the plate, the sandalwood is the incense. And the wind is what is kind of waving, around. And this entire creation is the flowers that they put in the plate. So what are we starting to picture? Are you starting to picture a beautiful place? Are you starting to picture the sky? Are you starting to picture a beautiful smell coming? Are you starting to picture the flowers that you see around? All of creation, okay? So Guru Sahib is talking about, this plate full of that. And what is this plate full of that? The world, right? It's the world he's talking about. So then this is his Rahau line, okay? The Rahau line is the line where we stop and we reflect, okay? It's kind of the essence of the whole Shabad. So he says, Kaisi Arti hoye, Pavkhandana teri Arti, Anhata Sabad Vajant teri Rahau. So he says, you know what? You know how sometimes when someone looks at something, like let's say you're wearing a beautiful dress and your dadi ji or nani ji, they might see it and they say, Kya baat hai, right? Have you ever heard that? I'm pretty sure you have, right? They say, so over here, Guru Sahib is saying, Kaisi Arti hoye. So beautiful is this worship. What is this worship? The entire world is in your worship. The entire world is the one that is worshiping you, right? So there's no statue, there's no one thing that is being worshipped, but the entire world is worshiping the one source that makes this whole world come together. And within this source, you can hear this unstruck sound. So during Arti, by the way, they have a little beagle that they make a sound out of it. Okay, there's a sound that they have to create. But Guru Sahib is telling us that within us, this sound, this Shabad is kind of reflecting. It's a sound that only you can hear yourself, and you cannot even others can't hear that sound, but yet everyone within them can hear that sound. Everything can hear that sound that is in them. Okay, so it's kind of interesting for us to kind of see कि Guru Sahib की कह रहे हैं कि जेड़ा अनहद आवाज जेड़ी हैगी ना शब्द हैगा ओ अंदरों आवाज आ रही है. That's what we're understanding. And then he goes on, okay, and now he's starting to talk about what this force is. What this force is. Sas tav nan hai toy, ko sas burat nana ek toy. Sas pad bimal nan ek pad gan, bin sas tav gan div chalt moy. Okay, so usually when we talk about this force, we're talking about one force, right? One special divine force. But over here, he's saying, okay, you have thousands of eyes, yet you have no eyes. You have thousands of forms, yet you do not even have one. You have thousands of lotus feet, yet you do not have even one foot. You have no nose, but you have thousands of noses. This play of yours entrances me. So when we look out into the world, right, we see so many things around us, so many different kind of things that we see. So what I understand from this is, I think Guru Sahib is kind of saying to us, or in a way is kind of saying through his experience that, this amazingness of you being so many and yet being all the same, this is what makes my heart go flutter a little bit, okay? I'm amazed. I'm entranced in this, that there's so much, yet there is one. And then he goes on and continues on and says, Sab mein jyot, jyot hai soe, tiste chanan, sab mein chanan hoye. Now this is where we're going to read this again. Sab mein jyot, jyot hai soe, tiste chanan, sab mein chanan hoye. So of all these things that we are seeing, right? Of all these things that we're seeing, there's one light force that is within them. Okay, there's like, and what is that light force? Over here, if you've seen this picture, you'll see what the picture says, Onkar, right? That one divine force is Onkar. And the more this brightens within you, the more the brightness spreads around everyone. So it's there. And you know how you can kind of help it brighten? This is what he says in the next thing. He says, Gur sakhi jyot paragat hoye, jyotis bhave so arti hoye. He says, you know what? Through the Guru's teaching, through understanding what Guru Sahib wants us to do, to understand what our purpose is, this is how the light, the force comes out. Okay? This is how it brightens all around us. And once that light brightens all around us, that is what the worship of Vaheguru is. That is what is pleasing to Vaheguru. Now, what does that mean? That do I get like a halo around me or something? Probably not, right? Even though in some pictures we might see that. But one thing to kind of remind us is that when we take what Guru Sahib tells us, right? What teaches us, Guru Sahib is not saying aisa karo. Guru Sahib is saying, je aisa karoge, te twanu fir you'll feel peace, you'll feel relaxed, you'll feel being able to do something. So what are those kind of things that we should be doing, right? So remember in the beginning, we kind of spoke about Seva and Simran. That automatically helps us bring this light out forward. So a lot of you, what are the kind of Sevas that are going on in the world right now? You know, the Sikhs are known for doing Sevas of things like providing food for those who don't have them. You know, when the Gurdwaras were open, we used to provide langar. We always used to provide langar. But you know what? Langar was for only the people who used to come to the Gurdwara. But now it's almost like Guru Sahib gave us an opportunity to say, okay, we have to lock down the world. What are you going to do now? A lot of Gurdwaras, a lot of families, a lot of organizations, what they started doing is they started understanding that there are a lot of people out there who cannot put dinner or lunch or breakfast on the table. So what do? We have to get this ready and give it to everyone. Okay? So maybe we think about langar is really where it needs to be, is now going to where it needs to be. On the other hand, there's also a lot of Gurdwaras, they're starting to do, or they had started doing a lot of online teachings, right? They started doing the rasa, nicknames in the morning. And initially, people would just do it. They would just do it. Okay, nickname that time aa gaya, rasa that time aa gaya. But now, the granthis in the Gurdwara, the other people at Khalsa schools, they're starting to discuss it more and more and try to understand it. So when those teachings go into the world and people actually take those teachings and practice them, it's as if this light is bright all around. Yeah? Does that make sense to everyone? So what are the kind of things you are going to do to help bring this light out and use it out in the world, right? something for us to think about. Then he goes on and says, Har charan kaval makran lobit mano andino mo ai pyasa. Now he's starting to talk about his kind of feeling with ikonkar, saying, my mind is enticed by the honey sweetness of the divine. Day and night I thirst for him. The more he's getting to see what creation is like, the more he's getting to see how the world is working, he kind of feels this sweetness more and more. And the more sweetness he can taste, the more thirst he gets, the more thirsty he gets for it. And the sweetness is ikonkar. And in the last line of the Shabad, he says, Kirpa jal te nanak sarang ko hoye jate tere nai vasa. So he's asking, he's saying, please take compassion on me. I'm a thirsty songbird. I'm a thirsty bird that thirsts for water. I want to have a sip of your water so that I can always remember to be in your hukum, to be in your, I can take all your virtues, I can take all your qualities, and that is what I can go out and do into the world. So he's asking for a request. So in a way, this reminds me that even Guru Sahib, he knows, right? Creation is amazing. He knows that it's almost like it's in worship of Vaheguru, of Ikonkar. In the end, he's still asking, please take compassion on me. Give me compassion so that I can always be alive with your qualities in me. All right. So this is where the Shabad ends, but what I want to take us back to is a reminder that Kaisi Arti Hoy. Remember I said the Rahaudi line is the essence of the Shabad, right? Kaisi Arti Hoy, Pavkhandana Tedi Arti, Anhata Sabad Vajan Tedi. So over here he's saying the whole world is worshiping you. When we are acting in the way that Guru Sahib has taught us, that is worship in itself. That is what Arti is. That is what the beauty of the world is. So maybe today, maybe later sometime this week, maybe in the future, you might want to go out one evening and look at the sky and see what do you see in the sky, and look around you and stop and smell the flowers and see how beautiful all of this is, right? So I think this would be a nice place. Now, what's going to happen in the next two, what the next two presenters are going to do is, first, Inni Panji is going to tell us, like, where did the Shabad come out of? Where, what happened? There's a sakhi that goes with it. And then in the third presenter, Pritinder Singh, he's going to sing this Shabad for us so that we can kind of connect all the dots and see how we feel about this. And you can then take it from here and remember that when we listen to the stories about our ancestors, when we listen to the teachings of our gurus, then we become just an ordinary child into an extraordinary child. So we always want to be just a little extraordinary to take that light and let it shine brightly around all of us. So that's where I will end. And if there are any questions, we said we were going to have time for maybe one or two questions, and then we are going to move on to Inni Panji. Manvinder, back to you for any questions.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. That was so lovely. It's always so nice hearing you present. I feel like I always learn a little something too. We do have one question, and if anyone else has any, please feel free to send them now. This one is from Anand. They say, they have a question. Who was Babanian Kahanian Divas? So maybe just more of an explanation. Yeah, they're asking a who, but maybe we could talk about what it means.
Okay, yeah. There's a Shabad, right? And then so Babaniya Kahaniya is for me. My understanding is, like I said in the beginning, that when we talk about our ancestors, right? What happened in the past, and for us, those ancestors that we're talking about are the gurus, are the Gursikhs of the time of the Gurus, and how they lived their life. When we try to understand what their life was like, then we want to become like that. We want to become extraordinary like that, right? So in that way, and by the way, I also want to say that yes, Guru Sahib will always be there, right? But even the Gursikhs of the time, even now, over time, there have been a lot of Gursikhs. So we also want to look at their life. So Guru Sahib's lives are the number ones that they tell us what the stories are. And then how the Gursikhs of the time past and the time now, what kind of lives do they live according to Guru Sahib's teachings? That is also what tells us what the stories of Sikhi are. So I hope that helps in what I've answered.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank
you so much. I'm going to shift it over to Iniji now. Let me
see if I can turn mine off.
Perfect. Lovely. So next up, we have Ini Gore. She is an author, artist, and poet who will be taking us on a trip with Guru Nanak Sahib and Bhai Mardana to the coastal town of Puri to find out what happened there. Welcome, Ini.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. It's so nice to be here, and Jasmine Gore did such a wonderful job explaining the Arti Shabad. But did it actually take place? Did it really happen? How do we know that? So just let's walk together and find out, where did this Shabad, where did Guru Sahib reveal this Shabad? And as you know, all of you already know that Guru Sahib traveled far and wide. And who was his companion? That's right. Bhai Mardana ji was his companion. So both of them, one time, were traveling, and guess where they reached? They reached the town of Puri. Now, Puri, this is in India. Okay, let's take a look at this map first. Look at all the footprints. Do you see them? Those are the places where Guru Sahib and Bhai Mardana walked all over. You know, that's, I believe it's about 17,000 plus miles. Can you imagine walking all those miles? Do you think Guru Sahib was strong? Or do you think he was kind of like weak? Or do you think he was thin? Do you think he was fat? He would have to be pretty strong to walk all those miles, right? That's right. So he was walking all this time, and he came to the town of Puri. And guess what? So let's begin with the story now. And yes, it's a story in English, but really it's a sakhi. Why is it a sakhi? It's a sakhi because it's a story about our Guru Sahib. It's about a story about Sikh history. So we are going to talk about the sakhi, and the title of this one is The Light Within Us. You know, Jasmine Kaur mentioned that. So let's see if you can connect the dots in this chapter with what Jasmine said. So here we go. The sun was beginning to set as Guru Nanak Sahib and Bhai Mardana entered the coastal town of Puri. A gentle breeze was blowing, and they walked towards the beach. Bhai Mardana gasped with amazement on seeing the sandy shores. Guruji, the sand is so beautiful. Please, can we spend the night on the beach? As you wish, Mardana, replied Guruji smilingly. Bhai Mardana was thrilled. Soon stars began to appear in the night sky, and the only sound that could be heard was the gentle rise and fall of the waves. The light of the sparkling stars shone upon the waters. While Guruji was quietly enjoying this beauty, Bhai Mardana began to get involved and began to see what was happening a few feet away from them. So, what was happening a few feet away from them? A sadhu had just laid out a mat and he was going to sit on the sand. Now, do we know who a sadhu is? I think so. But here, for the ones who don't know, a sadhu is like a holy person in the Hindu tradition, someone who goes around praying and walking around and kind of like, let's see what the sadhu does. So the sadhu sat in a lotus position. Do we know what a lotus position is? It's that's how you sit in the Gurdwara, some of us sit with our legs crossed. But what did he do? He had a little pot with him. So he placed the pot in front of him and he turned his face upwards to the sky. It looked like his head seemed to be touching his back. Oh my gosh, that's pretty uncomfortable. Let's try it. Guruji, why is the sadhu looking at the sky? Bhai Mardana asked. Wait and see what happens, replied Guruji as he lay down to sleep. Well, Bhai Mardana could not sleep. He began watching the sadhu. He was fascinated with the sadhu. And as this night progressed, people began to arrive. They would bow before the sadhu, they would put money in his pot, and they would sit in front of him. Early morning, even before the sun was up, there were hundreds of people there in front of the sadhu. Bhai Mardana was really curious now. So as soon as Guruji woke up, guess what he said? He said, Guruji, something very strange is going on. Look how many people have gathered around the sadhu. Many of them have put their money in the pot. The sadhu has not opened his eyes all night. What do you think is happening? Guruji smiled and said, Bhai Mardana, why don't you go and ask someone? That makes sense. So Bhai Mardana quickly walked over and gently tapped the man's shoulder and asked him, please explain to me what is going on here. The man replied in a hushed voice, so he was not disturbing anyone. The Brahmin, who is the highest caste, which means he knows everything, is a very great master. Every morning before the sun rises, he opens his eyes and tells us, oh, what is happening in the heavens. Really? Does he also tell you how to get close to God? Asked Bhai Mardana. No, the Brahmin doesn't tell us that. The Brahmin tells us what the gods and the goddesses are doing in the heavens. And then he tells us how our day will be. I come here every morning to listen to him. Bhai Mardana was really puzzled now. He went back to Guruji and told Guruji everything. Guruji listened carefully. And then you know what Guruji did? He walked over quietly to where the Brahmin was sitting and he gently picked up the money pot and put it behind the Brahmin's back. And then Guruji and Bhai Mardana sat with the Sangha. As the sun rose, the Brahmin opened his eyes. He straightened his neck because he was tired, right? And he looked around at everyone, all the people who had gathered. Blessings upon all of you who are here, he said. I am happy to tell you that there's a great celebration going on in the heavens. God Vishnu, which is the name of one of the gods, is very, very happy today. And he's having a wonderful conversation with another god, Indra. If only any of you could hear that loving conversation, it would change your lives. Beautiful songs and hymns are being sung in the heavens, and the gods and the goddesses are dancing with joy. It's going to be a very good day for all of you. May the gods fill your homes with wealth and happiness. Everyone was smiling because that's pretty good. That was a good thing, he said. You know what Guruji said? He said, Brahmanji, are you sure that's what's happening in the heavens? The Brahmin was shocked. No one had ever dared to question him. He looked at Guruji and then he replied, I have told you what I am is happening in the heavens. It's a beautiful and a really complex sight. Many things are happening, but you know, you are a child. And these are amazing mysteries, which of the heavens, and you will not be able to understand or see all what is happening. So Guruji then asks, Brahmanji, can you really see what is happening in the heavens as clearly as you can see what is happening around us? Of course, absolutely. I have achieved great magical powers after many years of doing yoga, intense yoga. So now I have these powers. I can see what is happening in all the regions. So according to some people believe there are three regions. The earth, which we are on. There is another region which is under the earth. And then there is another region which is above the earth. So the Brahmin said, I can see what is happening in the sky, in the earth, and what is happening below the earth. He knew, the Brahmin knew, that everyone was going to be very impressed with his knowledge, and he was feeling pretty good about it. Then Guruji said, then you will be most definitely be able to tell where your money pot is. The Brahmin looked around and could not see his money pot, and he became angry and he shouted, return my money pot immediately before I curse you. Guruji said, Brahmanji, why don't you use your magical powers of yoga and find out where your money pot is? That made sense. The Brahmin went red in the face. Some of the people started to giggle, which made the Brahmin even more furious. In his frustration, he started yelling at everyone. People who make fun of Brahmins will be ruined forever, and I will curse all of them personally. This was no holy man. What do you think? To curse people? Hearing his angry words, the people got scared and they became silent. And then Guruji uttered these words. It's a small Shabad. And I want you to listen to carefully to what Guruji was telling the Brahmin. Some people try to mislead, that means trick the world by shutting their eyes and holding their nostrils closed. And then they claim that they can see the three worlds. But they cannot even see what is behind them. So what is the strange lotus pose they are sitting in? Everyone was silent listening to Guruji. And then Guruji said, Brahmanji, how can you claim to see what is happening in the heavens when you could not even see could not even see that the money pot is behind you? Now tell me, are you really looking at the heavens or are you fooling the people? The Brahmin quickly got up, grabbed his money pot and left. The people were very impressed with Guruji's simple logic. Some of them invited him to come and stay in town with them. But Guruji said, I'm happy where I am. News of what had happened on the beach spread quickly in town. Next morning, the beach was even more crowded. Why do you think that was? Because many people had come just to see if the Brahmin was going to be there. But there was no sight of the Brahmin. Instead, they found Guruji singing Vaheguru's praises. Guruji was singing a Shabad to Ikunkar, and Bhai Mardana was playing the Rabab. So the people sat quietly and listened to what Guruji was saying. And Guruji said, "Don't look to the heavens to see Ikunkar. Ikunkar is within you. By remembering Vaheguru, by remembering Ik Onkar in everything you do, by working honestly and sharing your earnings with those who have less than you will begin to feel Vaheguru within you." As the days passed by, more and more people began coming to the beach to listen to Guruji's message. Everyone in town was coming now. Soon, the Raja of the town heard about Guruji. Do we know who a Raja is? That's right, the king. So the king of Puri heard about Guruji and he asked his priests, "Please invite Guruji to come to the palace." Now the priests got really worried. You know why they were worried? Because they saw that their earnings to the temples were getting less and less because people were no longer coming to the temples. They were going to Guruji. So now they were scared. What if the Raja became a follower of Guruji? What do you think would happen? That's right. They would be out of a job. So they came up with a clever plan. And let's hear what their clever plan was. The priest thought that it would be good to get Guruji to come to their temple and join them in the Arti. The Arti which you already heard from Jasmine. This was the Hindu Arti. This way, and if Guruji came to the temple, all the people would come and then their offerings, they would give money and the temple would get rich. So the priests went to invite Guruji and they said, "Guruji, the Raja would like you to come and join the evening prayer service to God Jagatnath in our most holy temple." Guruji replied, "Prayers are being said to the creator of the universe, and we are not there? How can that be? Please thank the Raja for his invitation and let him know that we will be there this evening." After the priest left, Bhai Mardana asked, "Guruji, who is God Jagatnath?" Guruji patiently explained, "Mardana, Jagatnath is a combination of two Sanskrit words. Jagat means universe and Nath means creator." So the sun was beginning to set as Guruji and Bhai Mardana reached the temple. The priest seated Guruji next to the Raja and the service began. A beautiful tray was laid out. The blowing of the conch was happening. Cymbals were being crashed, and everyone got together to sing these praises. What did Guruji and Bhai Mardana do? They quietly slipped out of the temple and sat outside under the stars, enjoying the nature's beauty, the night sky. Guruji's eyes shone, and tears of love were rolling down his eyes as he was looking at the beautiful sky. After the prayer service inside the temple was over, the Raja looked around and he didn't see Guruji and he got really upset. So he stormed outside to see where Guruji was. But when he saw Guruji, he was astonished. So he quickly and quietly sat next to Guruji because around Guruji was like a gentle aura around him. Many other people came and sat around Guruji. After a while, Guruji spoke. He said, "My creator, Vaheguru, Ikunkar, you are great. There is none like you." The Raja said, "You said you were going to join me in praying to God Jagatnath, but you didn't." Guruji replied, Rajaji, I was praying to Ekunkar, who created this entire universe. You did not see me praying because you were worshipping a stone idol, replied Guruji lovingly. The Raja looked bewildered. I don't understand. Guruji replied, Ikunkar is a living energy. It's a living force, Rajaji. How can a lifeless idol, how can a statue which is made by human hands create anything? Think about it. Well, the Raja didn't like that. And he said, so tell me, how do you worship? I saw my God before me. What is before you? And Guruji looked up to the sky and sang while Pai Mardana played the Shabad. And it was the Shabad which Jasmine Kaur has told you about, that the sky is the platter, the sun and the moon are the lamps. And Guruji sang that entire Shabad there. A hush fell on the crowd. Look around you, Guruji said. See how nature is honoring the one who created everything. Who created everything, uttered Guruji softly. Rajaji, the Raja asked, if Ikunkar has no eyes, no feet, and cannot be seen, then how can I experience this light, this jot, this Ikunkar within me that you talk about? Guruji said, Ikunkar is supreme light, supreme energy, Rajaji. Ikunkar's light is the life force in every human being. And Guru's teachings connect you to experience that light. So the Raja asked, which sometimes we all ask as well, who is Guru and where does Guru live? Asked the Raja. Guru is in Ikunkar and everywhere in creation. When there is a longing and a love for you to know who Ikunkar is, to experience Ikunkar, the Guru then comes to you. So the Raja asked, how can I get to know Ikunkar? Always remember that the light of Ikunkar is within you and within all living beings. Everyone has the light, and that will help you to keep your mind focused and will enable you to do the right thing. What happens then? Slowly your mind will become clear. And when the mind becomes clear, you will feel the presence of Vaheguru, of Ikunkar within you. The Raja could not believe what he was hearing. Tears began to roll down the Raja's cheek. He bowed before Guruji. I did not know that the light of Vaheguru, the light of Ikunkar is within me. You have awakened me. And you know what Guruji said? And I want all of you to think about it. Guruji said, imagine life as a flower. The flower is beautiful and the color is lovely, but it's real only when it has a fragrance. Similarly, all our lives become fragrant when you begin to feel the presence of Ikunkar within you. That is what is Guruji is telling us, that our life will become fragrant when we begin to feel Vaheguru within us. From that day onwards, the Raja became a follower of Guruji, and he didn't want Guruji to leave. But then came a time for Guruji to leave Puri, and when he left, Guruji and Pai Mardana left Puri and told the Raja to look after the Sangat there. And Guruji and Pai Mardana went to spread the message of Vaheguru to the rest of the world. And you know what that message was? That there is only one Ikunkar. Ikunkar is true. Ikunkar created the universe. Ikunkar doesn't fear anyone. Ikunkar doesn't hate anyone. Ikunkar is forever. Ikunkar is not born. Ik Onkar does not die. Ik Onkar is pure light. And by Guru's grace, that means by Guru's teachings, when you follow the teachings, Ik Onkar, you can get to know Ik Onkar. So that is the end of this sakhi. So now you know the Shabad, the sakhi of where Guruji revealed this Shabad. So Manvinder, I know I've gone a little bit over the time, so I apologize, but I didn't realize that the sakhi was a little longer.
That's not a problem at all. This was so lovely to sit on. Thank you so much for sharing this story. We do have we'll make time for one question.
Sure.
One of the first questions we got was from Gia. They asked, why are there two teachers?
What two teachers? I didn't understand the question.
I think the question is referring to Bhai Mardana.
Bhai Mardana did not have two teachers. Guruji was...
Yes. Sorry, I understood the question as Bhai Mardana being the second teacher. So because this question came closer to the beginning of the story, where there appeared to be, the Guru and Bhai Mardana.
Yeah. So Guruji is the teacher and Bhai Mardana was his companion who was with Guruji and walked with Guruji everywhere. So the teacher is Guru Nanak Sahib.
Beautiful. Thank you. And to anyone who came late, this webinar will be recorded, so you can go back, listen to this story again and anything else. Thank you, Iniji, for this beautiful story. I will be introducing our next presenter now. Next, we have Rapinder Singh. He is a musician, researcher, and educator at the Raj Academy. Today, he will lead us through a musical rendition of Shabad with his brother, Saminder Singh. Please welcome Rapinder and Saminder.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Can everyone hear me clearly? Just want to make sure that you can all hear me.
Okay. Yep, all good. Thank you.
I've been really enjoying this program. I'm getting to learn a lot as well. Jasmine Gore and Indi Gore explained the Shabad and they built the context of the Shabad that Guru Nanak had shared, and it was really nice to hear. Today I'm going to share from the musical side how, and we're going to build that third layer of understanding the Shabad from the emotions, from the mood. So as we talked, this Shabad the title is Tanasri Mahalla Pehla Arti. And so this Shabad was written by Guru Nanak, because it says Mahalla Pehla. But we're going to talk now about Tanasri. What is Tanasri? So Tanasri is known as a rag, right? And then the question comes up, what is rag, right? Rag, sometimes we think it's musical notes, but rag goes deeper than that. Rag is what we feel, the moods that we feel. It's a mood. So sometimes we feel sad, right? Sometimes we feel really happy. And then there's days that we don't know what we're feeling, but we feel something, but we can't put words to it, right? Every day we're feeling moods, right? And that's what makes us human beings. And Guru knew this. And so Guru utilized these moods that we feel as human beings, and he used it to express and actually talk and share the essence of the Creator through the rag. So Tanasri, let's dive deep and understand what Tanasri is. So I want you all to join in, okay? So I want you to close your eyes. Everyone close your eyes and let's paint a picture. Yeah, let's use our imagination. So let's all go to our favorite park or playground that we like to go to. Yeah? Are we all there? So now, once we're here, can you see your favorite swing? I used to swing a lot when I was a little kid, and I used to jump off and do this crazy things. So imagine there's a swing in your playground. Yeah, and your parents have brought you there. Yeah, and your friends are playing. It's a nice sunny day. It's beautiful. Everything's great. Yeah, so let's go ahead and sit on the swing. So as we're going back and forth and swinging, can you feel the wind? Can you feel does it feel like you're flying? Right? It feels amazing, right? It feels like you're flying in the air like a bird. There's nothing stopping you. You just feel so free. but at the same time you're flying, you're secure, right? You know you're safe because you're holding on, right? You know you're sitting on the seat, you're not going to fall off, but you feel this freedom, but at the same time there's this security. And even if you fall, your parents are there to catch you, right? And so as we're swinging, we feel so free. We feel the wind in our face, and it just feels awesome. It feels like we're flying, but at the same time we feel secure and confident because we know nothing's going to happen because I'm holding on. Now replace that with the Creator, replace that with Guru, right? That's tenacity. When you know that you're in safe hands, when you know that nothing can get in your way, yeah. So that is tenacity. So imagine that, and keep that in your mind. So when you feel alone, or when you feel sad, or when you feel afraid, think of tenacity, right? This is why Guru put the Shabad, tenacity into the for the Shabad. Yeah, tenacity is when we feel like nothing can harm us. We're safe. Guru is protecting us. So when you go throughout your life and you ever feel sad, or you feel afraid, or you feel like you're alone, remember tenacity, remember the Shabad, because you're not alone. Guru's there, the Creator is there, everything is there, and Guru expressed it to the Shabad, right? Guru experienced the Kal Purakh, the Creator within everything. The lights, right? The wind, the smells, everything. For him, it was the Creator. Everything he saw and experienced was the creation. And so when Guru was explaining and singing the Shabad, he was in tenacity. And so this is how he shared it to us. So when we sing the Shabad, let's put ourselves in tenacity. And I want you to try something out. So when we're going to sing the Shabad, I want you to close your eyes and take yourself back, how Inikorji explained beautifully that, built that context of the environment. Take yourself into that moment and try to feel that atmosphere, and try to understand and feel how the rag and the Shabad carry you. So try to just feel the Shabad. And I also want you to do something afterwards. I want you to write your story of tenacity, right? In your life, yeah? Even adults and the kids, think of a time when you felt tenacity, and write a story, write a poem, right? Or paint a picture, or draw something that helps you relate to tenacity. I'm saying there's a lag. I do apologize if there's a lag. So now we're gonna sing the Shabad, and please listen and experience it. एक ओंकार सत गुर प्रसाद, तनासरी महला पहला आरती, कैसी आरती होए, कैसी आरती होए, कैसी आरती होए, कैसी आरती होए। वजंत बेरी कैसी आरती होए कैसी आरती होए। रवे चंद दीपक बने गगन में थाल रवे चंद दीपक बने तारका मंडल जनक मोती रवे चंद दीपक बने तारका मंडल जनक मोती धूप मलयान लो पवन चबरो करे धूप मलयान लो पवन चबरो करे सगल बन राए पुरंद दो कैसी आरती होए कैसी आरती होए। खंडना तेरी आरती खंडना तेरी आरती अनहता साबद वजंत बेरी कैसी आरती होए कैसी आरती होए। सहस तब नैन नन नैन नैन तोहे कहो सहस तब नैन नन नैन है तोहे कहो सहस मूरत नैना एक तो ही सहस पद विमल नन एक पद गंध बिनो सहस पद विमल नन एक पद गंध बिनो सहस तब गंध इव चलत मोहि कैसी आरती होए कैसी आरती होए कैसी आरती। सब में जोत जोत है सोए सब में जोत जोत है सोए सब में जोत जोत है सोए तिसके चानन सब में चानन होए। गुर साखी जोत परगट होए गुर साखी जोत परगट होए जो तिस पावै सुआरती कैसी आरती ओए कैसी आरती ओए कैसी आरती ओए पंडिता तेरी आरती पंडिता तेरी आरती अनहता सब रे वजंत पे कैसी आरती होए कैसी आरती होए हर चरण कमल मकरंदे लोभित मनो हर चरण कमल मकरंदे लोभित मनो अन दिनो मोहे आही प्यासा अन दिनो मोहे आही प्यासा कृपा जल दहे नानक सारंग को कृपा जल दहे नानक सारंग को होए जाते तेरे नाम वासा कैसी आरती होए कैसी आरती होए पंडिता तेरी आरती पंडिता तेरी आरती अनहता सब रे वजंद पे कैसी आरती ओए कैसी आरती ओए कैसी आरती ओए कैसी आरती होए Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So this was the Shabad in Tanasri, the Arti that Guru Nanak has written. So anytime you feel in your life that you are lost, or you feel afraid, or you feel like you're alone, think of the Shabad. Think of this mood that Guru Nanak is sharing the Shabad in. You are not alone. Guru is with you always. That's Tanasri. And one cool example, a funny example I'll give you before I hand it off. We've all seen The Lion King, right? The Lion King, the movie. In there's a phrase they say, Hakuna Matata. Yeah, Hakuna Matata. That's the essence of Tanasri. That be worry-free, but be confident that Guru's on your side. Guru will never leave you. And we just have to explain this to our mind, right? Sometimes the mind feels alone, and we have to share to our mind that Guru's with you. In this Shabad, sing the Shabad and understand it. And anytime you feel alone or you feel lost, and it will bring you back on course. Yeah. Thank you so much. And I think if anyone has questions, they can ask questions.
Thank you so much, both for that beautiful rendition and for bringing in that example of the Lion King. I think that really helps in understanding the context way more. We did just have one question. I think we had some conversation going in the chat about what instruments both of you are playing. So if you could say a little bit about those, please.
I also apologize for the lagging. I don't know. It was working fine before, but technology always has its ways. So the instruments we're playing, this is called a taus. So I started playing when I was 12 years old, right? A long time ago. And I started with Dilruba, which is an instrument created by Guru Gobind Singh. And this also is an instrument created by Guru Gobind Singh Ji, known as a taus. So taus means peacock in Persian. Yeah. So that's why it looks like a peacock, right? Because it has such a beautiful voice. So it was recreated into an instrument. And this instrument right here that Saminder Singh, my little brother, is playing is called Jodi. And this was created in the court of Guru Arjan Dev Ji. So we've heard the sakhi of Satta and Balwan Ji. They're great kirtanis, and they created this in the with the blessings of Guru Arjan Dev Ji. It used to be a mardang, and they cut it in half, and then the Jodi was created. And so here, if you see, there's atta. So what we eat roti, the atta that we make roti with, is the same atta here that we put. So and it creates this really cool bass sound. Because when we think about it, during the Guru's times, or even the story that Inikoji was sharing, they weren't sitting in a gurdwara, right? Or they weren't sitting inside a temple. They were sitting outside on a beach, right? They were sitting in the open. And there was hundreds and thousands of people. How did they all hear, right? So these instruments are created in a way that it resonates so deeply. And even with the Jodi, when you play it, you actually feel it. The ground shakes. So it's really cool.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And again, yes, thank you to both of you for taking time to share this musical rendition with us. And yes, again, we do apologize for the lag. That is just the reality of hosting a webinar, but we do apologize. I am glad that the sound worked, but I am going to introduce you to our next presenter. So next up, we have Harliv Gore, an elementary educator and the founder of Gikli, a company that has developed fun and innovative tools for learning Punjabi. Today, she will be doing a plexers activity. So the purpose of these puzzles is to get the kids' minds thinking about what today's lesson could be. These are mind puzzles using both Gurmukhi and English. So as we wait for Harliv Gore to join us, I'm going to be sharing some of her slides.
Hanji, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I am joined today along with my son. This is Rabbi Singh. So Rabbi Singh is going to help us figure out some of these plexers. So as Benji mentioned, these are some plexers so I've been teaching for over 20 years at a public school, and then I also teach at our local Khalsa school. So I teach Virsa and Gurmukhi once in a while, but definitely Virsa. So plexers are great conversation starters, or they are great tools to use to help kids use their background knowledge to kind of figure out some of these puzzles. So it's just a fun and innovative way to get everyone involved. So we're going to go ahead and start with our first plexer. Rabbi has seen a couple of these, but there's a couple of them that are brand new, even for him. So if you think you can figure out the plexer, I would love for you to go ahead and share your answers in the chat. And we're going to go ahead and get started with that first plexer. Let's see. All right. So up on the left-hand side, you will have your clue that tells a little bit about the puzzle. And then you're going to use these pictures, and there's going to be letters in Gurmukhi or in English. And you're going to try to use those sounds and try to say them out loud. So that way you can try to put those things together to figure out what is it that I'm trying to convey to you. Okay. So Jada sara clue haga nature. And now let's go ahead and put this together. So Rabbi Singh, sign ki likhya? Please come in. But what's circled is the in. And here we have barbed wire. And then what's this?
A mint.
Mint. So here we go. So we have environment. I see that Assis Kaur already shared her answer. You're right. So it's environment. So everybody, if you look at the picture and you'll say barbed wire, could it be in barbed wire mint? That doesn't make any sense. So you're gonna try to play around with it and try to figure out what the puzzle is. So great job. Let's go on to our next one. Okay, so this one So देखो, so पहला गुरमुखी da अक्षर हैगा, right? So it's kakka, but you're not going to say kakka and then ud. So let's go with the sound. The sound of kakka is ka. Te likha. Good. And then what is this? Chua bhi ho sakta, mouse bhi ho sakta, ja,
Rat.
or it could be a rat. And I see Prabjot Kaur said it might be what? What do you think it is?
Kudrat.
Kudrat. Thank you, Rabbi Singh and Prabjot Kaur. You guys came up with the next answer. And I see others sharing their answers. All right, let's do this one. The alphabet. So I think a lot of you guys go to Khalsa schools, and let's figure it out. So alphabet, what's that first picture? Like a pan plus Tatenu Bihari. So ki ho sakta? Gurmeet Kaur said maybe it's Panti. What do you think? Does that make sense? Is that an alphabet? I think that makes sense. Good job. Good job. Oh, Aziz Kaur also wrote the number Panti. So in number bhi ho sakta, or it could be the alphabet. Very good. Why do you think we say Panti? Why is Panti called Panti? What do you think? Any ideas? Why is that the alphabet? So what about it? Oh, I think we have another visitor. I think he might have an answer. This is Jivat Singh. Jivat Singh, what do you think?
Well, 30. I think it's like Benti because there might be like 35 letters in the Punjabi alphabet.
In the Gurmukhi alphabet. Very good. That's exactly the reason. Good job. All right, let's look at this next one. Are you going to join us?
Okay.
I hope so. Okay, so our clue is city founded by a Guru Nanak Pacha. So here we go. Let's see. So ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆ ਦੇਖੋ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਗੱਡੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੋਰ ਕੀ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ car. And then this, instead of using a barbed wire, I used a different kind of wire. Wire ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ? Oh, some of you guys are so fast at this. Tar. And we're pouring something. So keep it in. Kartarpur. Very good. That is the city that was founded by Guru Nanak Pacha. All right. Let's look at this next one. Next slide. Ready? You guys are on fire. So proud of you guys. Okay, so this is the one that neither Rabbi or Jivat have seen. So let's see if they can figure this one out. Right? Ready? Look at your clue. This might be a new word because guess what? I think it was a new word for me. Definitely a new word for me. So let's see. So our clue is buzz. Okay, go ahead. Let's figure it out.
So it says ma do
Wait, can I ask you? Tanu kiਵੇਂ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਦੋ ਕਹਿਣਾ and not two?
because it's written in Gurmukhi.
It's written in Gurmukhi. So Gurmukhi ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੋ ਇਵੇਂ ਲਿਖੀਦਾ. That's how you write the number 2. Oh, you guys, I think you guys figured it out before these two, but let's see. Ma do ek hi hega? Makhi. Ma ki hega? Mado makhi. Oh, ki hunda. What is a mado makhi?
A bee.
A bee. So that's what it goes with. Thank you. Jian. I think that's right. I hope I said your name right. You said that it was bees. Very good. So guess what? Jivat is actually going to be one of our next presenters also. But so some of this vocabulary is from that kavita. So they were gracious enough to let me use some of their words for our plexers. So let's look at the next one. Oh, okay. Gifts. That's our clue. Number dekho, ek hi likhya?
100.
100. 100 ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਆਖੀਦਾ 100 ਤੇ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਾਰਟੂਨ ਬਣਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ the cartoon is what is the cartoon doing? Singing. Okay, so saw singing ਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੀ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਤਾਂ
So ga is like singing in
so Jivat is saying ke ga is like singing in Punjabi. So try to put that one together.
Sogata.
Sogata. What? Sogata ki again?
A gift.
Gifts. Gifts. Very good. Look at this. We've learned 2 new vocabulary words, if not more. Good job. So gata hundiyan gifts. Okay. So this one, it's also a brand new one. Ready? Let's figure this one out. Ek hi baniya hoya? Door. Te door nu Punjabi ch ki akhida? Door nu Punjabi ch ki akhida? What do you think? Sorry. There. Does that work? Darwaja. So ithe likhya, so ਇਹ ਦਰਵਾਜ਼ਾ ਬਣਿਆ minus the vaja. So ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ vaja ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੱਟ ਦੋਗੇ ਕੀ ਬਣਿਆ? Dar plus I. It could be okay. Darait. Is darait? Harpreet Kaur and Jasmine Gore. You guys think you guys already figured out? Darait nahi bani. Let's see. Darak. Could it be that?
Yeah.
Darak is a tree. Good job. Good job. All right, we are almost done. Let's see. Ooh. So this was one of my very first plexers. So I always have to share this one. So help me figure this one out. One force. This is the one force that is true, that does not have any hate, that is all love, and that is everywhere where you look. When I look at you, when I look around at nature, this is it exists everywhere, it permeates everywhere, it's everywhere. So let's figure this one out. So we know कि ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰਮੁਖੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ number ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ, it is ik. The switch plate says what? On. Ik on.
Gosh.
It's not ik on gaddi, right?
Yeah.
That wouldn't make much sense. Ik on. Ik on God. Very good. Ik on God. Very nice. A lot of you guys figured that one out. Good. All right. So, Pema, my clue for this one was our tribe. Who are your people? Who are the people that are so important in your life, that help you make great choices, that help shape you, that help you get to that next level of where you want to be? So let's figure this one out. Ready? Sun. Sangat. Oh my goodness. Very good. Sangat. Good. These are your people. These are the people you want to keep close to you, right? Because it's our Sangat that shapes us.
The last one.
Ready for the last one? And then I have homework for you guys. All right. So this is what we should try to aim to be in every day. All right. And because if you're feeling this spirit, it's so super contagious that everyone around you will start feeling it. Ready?
I know.
Number is Char.
Di.
Ka. Chardi. Chardi Kala. Very nice. So the last one was Chardi Kala. All right. So here is your assignment. And if you want to share an idea in the chat, you can. Or I think at the end, Benji's also going to share other ways that you can share your own plexers with us. But ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ assignment ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ can you please share a plexer on Jagat ਜਾਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ? Jagat, what do you think that means? Jagat ਜਾਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ?
Dunya is world.
Dunya is world. And Jagat's another word for that, right? So can you create your own plexer that maybe I can use it in another presentation about Jagat or world? Or if you come up with a different plexer, please go ahead and share that with us. And then go ahead and write the answer for me, because I can't always figure these out. I was sharing some plexers with these guys the other day, and there's some that I created so long ago, I couldn't even remember what the answers were. So I can't wait for, Nirmaljeet Singh, I think Nirmaljeet, you already came up with one. Very nice. And I see some of you are already sharing them with us. Fantastic. But I would love to see some more. So don't limit yourself to just Jagat or Dunya. If you come up with something totally different, that would be amazing also. So it's been so much fun to share these with you guys. I look forward to another opportunity. And with that, should we say Fateh? Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you so much to all three of you. That was so nice to sit in on. I definitely learned some new words as well. Before we do move on, and I know Jagat is going to be staying with us, I just wanted to share with anyone who is interested, there is a web school for anyone who is interested in learning more about Sikh music. So there's both, I've linked both the introduction to Sikh music and also the short course. And also in relation to Harliv Gorji, you can send her an email to purchase her book, Ek Chota Bacha and Other Sikh Nursery Rhymes. I've also been including any links that anyone might be interested in while the presentations are going on. So you can scroll through the chat and look at those. But now I'd love to introduce our next presenter. So next we have Rapinder Kaur and Jagat Singh, who you've already met. Rapinder Kaur is Jagat's mom. So she is a first officer with American Airlines and currently flies Boeing 737s. Her son Jagat Singh is 10 years old and will be entering 5th grade in the fall. He's an aspiring astronaut and enjoys playing tabla and piano. Together they will be reading, singing, and discussing a kavita, so a poem on nature. Please welcome the both of them. Oh, it looks like we have lost them. Oh, here we are. Sorry about this. Just please bear with us for a moment as we figure out our camera. Oh. Sorry about that, everyone. Just give us one moment as we welcome our next presenters. We hope everyone has been enjoying the presentation so far. Please do send in your questions as you think of them. I am keeping track of them, and even if we aren't able to answer them here, we will definitely be taking into consideration putting on more programming like this. Yeah, because it seems like everyone is very engaged, which is so lovely to see. So we hope to keep all our young viewers engaged in the future. Rapinder Kaur, perhaps we could move as you figure out your camera issues. I think we're just going to come back to you after Gurmeet Kaur. So if Gurmeet Kaur, if you'd like to switch your camera on, perhaps we can move on. We can switch your positions in the schedule. Not a problem. These are just the expected issues of working with technology. Gurmeet Kaur?
Are we on?
I will give you a short introduction once we have a screen ready. Oh, so now we have Gurmeet Kaur and Liv Kaur. Gurmeet Kaur is a children's author, storyteller, and teacher of the Punjabi language. She's authored and published the book series, Fascinating Folktales of Punjab. Gurmeet and her daughter Liv Kaur will be sharing a folktale from their book series. Oh,
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Gurmeet Kaur and this is Liv Kaur. Babanian Kahanian Put Saput Karen.
Share those ancestral stories that have the power to turn an average child into a progeny.
So, Guruji wants us to share those ancestral stories that bring about goodness in a child. So, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਾਣੀਆਂ ਸੁਣੀਆਂ, ਸਾਖੀਆਂ ਸੁਣੀਆਂ, ਕੀਰਤਨ ਸੁਣਿਆ, ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਬਾਣੀਆਂ ਕਹਾਣੀਆਂ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਲੜੀ ਸੁਣੋਗੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ or folk tales. And I'll tell you why folk tales are important, why I thought folk tales were important, or मैं ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ document ਕਰਨਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ when Liv Kaur was born, because ਇਹ ਕਹਾਣੀਆਂ, ਇਹ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਮੁੱਢ ਕਦੀਮ ਤੋਂ ਚੱਲੀਆਂ ਆ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਨੇ. When I say ਮੁੱਢ ਕਦੀਮ, that means from time immemorial. From our ancestors have passed these stories down to generations after generations through oral traditions. So ਇਹ ਕਹਾਣੀਆਂ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹਨ, important ਹਨ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਭਿਅਤਾ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡੀ ਰਹਿਤਲ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡੀ ਵਸੋਂ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡਾ ਸਿਵਲਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦੀ ਕਦਰਾਂ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਚੱਲਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ. What were their values? What were ancestors like? How did they live? What were their values? And what was their environment like? ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀਆਂ ਲੋਕ ਕਹਾਣੀਆਂ ਹਨ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹੋ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸੱਭਿਆਚਾਰ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਰਹਿਤਲ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਵਸੋਂ, ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਿੰਧਵਾਦੀ ਦੀ ਵਸੋਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ. ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਲਿਵ ਕੌਰ?
Indus Valley Civilization.
Indus Valley Civilization ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਹੋ, it's about 5,000 to 7,000 years old. So it's one of the oldest civilizations in the world. So ਸਾਡੀ ਬੋਲੀ, ਸਾਡੀ ਪਿਆਰੀ ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਵੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਪੁਰਾਣੀ ਹੈ. ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਮਾਂ ਬੋਲੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਾਂਭ ਕੇ ਰੱਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਸ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਉਪਰਾਲਾ ਹੈ ਫੈਸੀਨੇਟਿੰਗ ਫੋਕ ਟੇਲਸ ਆਫ ਪੰਜਾਬ, ਔਰ ਸੋਹਣੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੀਆਂ ਮੋਹਣੀਆਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਕਹਾਣੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗੇ ਹਾਂ. These books, Fascinating Folktales of Punjab, books 6, 7 and 8, these are meant for older kids, and these have beautiful stories told poetically, and they have vocabulary words for you, and they have Punjabi and English. They are bilingual books, and today we're going to be sharing a story called Sabad Phunkara, the snake's hiss, which talks about the theme, our world, how ਆਪਾਂ ਇਸ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਵਿਚਰਨਾ ਹੈ. ਔਰ ਇਹ ਕਹਾਣੀ ਸੁਣ ਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਤੁਕ ਯਾਦ ਆਏਗੀ, ਔਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਕਿ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਕ ਯਾਦ ਆਈ. ਸੋ ਲਿਵ ਕੌਰ ਜੀ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੋ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੋ ਲਿਵ ਕੌਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੂਰਾ ਫਰੇਮ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰ ਲਓ. ਲਿਵ ਕੌਰ ਜੀ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਬੁੱਕ, ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ, ਤੇ ਲਿਵ ਕੌਰ ਵੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਨਗੇ. ਸੋ ਕਿਸੇ ਪਿੰਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਸੱਪ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੀ. ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ, ਜ਼ਹਿਰੀਲਾ ਤੇ ਹੰਕਾਰੀ ਸੀ. ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਰਾਹ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਹਰ ਜੀਅ ਨੂੰ ਡਸਦਾ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੀ. ਉਸਦੇ ਇਸ ਵਤੀਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਪਿੰਡ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੈਰਾਨ ਸਨ, ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਸਨ ਤੇ ਭੈਭੀਤ ਸਨ. ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਪਿੰਡ ਦੇ ਕੁਝ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੁਦਰਤ ਰਾਣੀ ਅੱਗੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕੀਤੀ.
ਹੇ ਕੁਦਰਤ ਰਾਣੀ, ਹੇ ਪਿਆਰੀ ਮਾਤ, ਤੂੰ ਸਭ ਜਾਣੀ ਜਾਣ, ਸੁਣ ਸਾਡੀ ਫਰਿਆਦ ਤੇ ਰੱਖ ਲੈ ਸਾਡਾ ਮਾਣ. ਫਨੀਰ ਸੱਪ ਕਰੇ ਮਨਮਾਨੀ, ਉਸ ਦਾ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਮੰਗੇ ਨਾ ਪਾਣੀ. ਛੱਡੇ ਪਸ਼ੂ ਨਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਬੰਦੇ, ਹੰਕਾਰਿਆ ਉਹ ਸਭ ਨੂੰ ਡੰਗੇ. ਤੂੰ ਹੀ ਹੁਣ ਕੁਝ ਕਰ ਉਪਾ, ਤੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਬਚਾ.
ਕੁਦਰਤ ਰਾਣੀ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਅਰਜ਼ੋਈ ਸੁਣ ਬੜੇ ਪਿਆਰ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਹਾ, ਡਾਢੇ ਸੱਪ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਲ ਬੁਲਾ, ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਦਿਉ ਸਮਝਾ. ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਵਾਅਦਾ ਕਰਦੀ, ਉੱਕਾ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੋੜ ਡਰਨ ਦੀ. ਕਰੇਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੰਗ, ਮਾਰੇਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਜ਼ਹਿਰੀ ਡੰਗ. ਉਸੇ ਦਿਨ ਕੁਦਰਤ ਰਾਣੀ ਨੇ ਸੱਪ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਬੁਲਾਇਆ ਤੇ ਕਿਹਾ, ਵੇਖ ਸੱਪਾ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਸੰਦ ਤੇਰੇ ਕਾਰੇ, ਹਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਤੂੰ ਡੰਗ ਪਿਆ ਮਾਰੇ. ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਡਰਾਇਆ, ਹਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਸਾਹ ਸੁਕਾਇਆ. ਮੇਰਾ ਹੁਕਮ ਸੁਣ, ਹੁਣ ਦੱਸਣਾ ਛੱਡ ਦੇ, ਬਣ ਜਾ ਨਿਮਾਣਾ, ਹਿੰਡ ਆਪਣੀ ਤੱਜ ਦੇ. ਜੇ ਤੂੰ ਇਹ ਇਕਰਾਰ ਕਰੇਂਗਾ, ਲੋਕਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਸਤਕਾਰ ਲਵੇਂਗਾ. ਸੱਪ ਨੇ ਕੁਦਰਤ ਰਾਣੀ ਨੂੰ ਵਚਨ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਤੰਗ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰੇਗਾ. ਇਸ ਤੋਂ ਮਗਰੋਂ ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਉਸੇ ਪਿੰਡ ਵਾਪਸ ਚਲਿਆ ਗਿਆ। ਸੱਪ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਚਨ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ ਡੰਗ ਮਾਰਨਾ ਛੱਡ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਉਹ ਗਲੀਆਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੀਂਗਦਾ ਫਿਰਦਾ, ਪਰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਨਾ ਆਖਦਾ। ਹੁਣ ਲੋਕ ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਡਰਨੋਂ ਹਟ ਗਏ ਸਨ। ਉਹ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪੈਰਾਂ ਹੇਠ ਮਦੋਲ ਕੇ ਲੰਘ ਜਾਂਦੇ। ਕਈ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਰੱਸੀ ਦੀ ਥਾਂ ਵਰਤਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਏ। ਕਈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਬਾਲਟੀ ਨਾਲ ਬੰਨ ਕੇ ਖੂਹ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਕੱਢ ਲੈਂਦੇ। ਮੁੰਡੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਗਲੀਆਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਧੂਈ ਫਿਰਦੇ। ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਉਸ ਨਾਲ ਰੱਸੀ ਟੱਪਾ ਖੇਡ ਲੈਂਦੀਆਂ। ਵਿਚਾਰਾ ਸੱਪ ਮਨ ਹੀ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੜਾ ਦੁਖੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਪਰ ਉਹ ਕੁਦਰਤ ਰਾਣੀ ਨੂੰ ਵਚਨ ਦੇ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ ਸੀ, ਇਸ ਲਈ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਕੁਝ ਨਾ ਵਿਗਾੜਦਾ। ਪਰ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਤਾਂ ਹੱਦ ਹੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ। ਇੱਕ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਨੇ ਸੱਪ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਣੀ ਰੋਟੀ ਦਾ ਛਿੱਕੂ ਬੰਨ ਕੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਦਿਨ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਰੁੱਖ ਦੀ ਟਾਹਣੀ ਨਾਲ ਲਮਕਾ ਛੱਡਿਆ। ਸੱਪ ਦਾ ਸਰੀਰ ਆਕੜ ਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਦਾ ਅੰਗ ਅੰਗ ਪੀੜ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗਾ। ਆਖਰ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੇਠੀ ਤੇ ਦੁਰਗਤ ਤੋਂ ਤੰਗ ਆ ਸੱਪ ਕੁਦਰਤ ਰਾਣੀ ਕੋਲ ਵਾਪਸ ਗਿਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਕੁਦਰਤ ਰਾਣੀ ਨੂੰ ਰੋ ਰੋ ਆਪਣਾ ਹਾਲ ਸੁਣਾਇਆ ਤੇ ਕਿਹਾ,
ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਵਚਨ ਨਿਭਾਇਆ, ਨਾ ਹੀ ਡੰਗਿਆ ਨਾ ਡਰਾਇਆ। ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਰ ਕਦਰ ਨਾ ਪਾਈ, ਬਦਸਲੂਕੀ ਦੀ ਹੱਦ ਮੁਕਾਈ। ਸਹੇ ਨਾ ਜਾਏ ਹੁਣ ਨਿਤ ਦੀ ਦੁਰਕਾਰ, ਦੱਸ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਗਿਆ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਤਕਾਰ।
ਕੁਦਰਤ ਰਾਣੀ ਉਸਦੀ ਗੁਜ਼ਾਰਿਸ਼ ਸੁਣ ਕੇ ਮੁਸਕਰਾਈ ਤੇ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੀ, ਖੰਭਲਿਆ ਸੱਪਾ, ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਸਿਰਫ ਇਹ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਤੂੰ ਡੰਗ ਨਾ ਮਾਰ। ਇਹ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਕਦੋਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਛੱਡ ਦੇ ਤੂੰ ਸਾਰੇ ਹਥਿਆਰ। ਫੇਰ ਸੁਣ ਮੇਰਿਆ ਪਿਆਰਿਆ ਬੱਚਿਆ, ਨਾ ਅਤ ਕਰ ਨਾ ਅਤ ਸਹਾਰ। ਫੇਰ ਸੁਣ ਮੇਰਿਆ ਪਿਆਰਿਆ ਬੱਚਿਆ, ਨਾ ਅਤ ਕਰ ਨਾ ਅਤ ਸਹਾਰ। ਤੂੰ ਡੰਗ ਨਾ ਮਾਰ, ਪਰ ਆਪਣਾ ਫੁੰਕਾਰਾ ਤੇ ਕਾਇਮ ਰੱਖ। ਪੈਰਾਂ ਹੇਠ ਰੋਲ ਮਾਰ ਸੁੱਟਣਗੇ ਲੋਕੀ, ਜੇ ਨਾ ਰੱਖੀ ਤੂੰ ਇੰਨੀ ਵੀ ਅਣਖ। ਤੂੰ ਡੰਗ ਨਾ ਮਾਰ, ਪਰ ਆਪਣਾ ਫੁੰਕਾਰਾ ਤੇ ਕਾਇਮ ਰੱਖ। ਪੈਰਾਂ ਹੇਠ ਰੋਲ ਮਾਰ ਸੁੱਟਣਗੇ ਲੋਕੀ, ਜੇ ਨਾ ਤੂੰ ਰੱਖੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਵੀ ਅਣਖ। ਇਹ ਵਾਲਾ ਪਾਰਟ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਸੁਣਾ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ, because it's kind of important and you will see everything is told in English as well. Listening to his plea, Mother Nature smiled and said, "Silly snake, I asked you to curb your spite and cease your deadly bite. Never did I ever tell to completely stop defending yourself? My dear child, turn your ear. Oppress no one, but never live in fear. My dear child, turn your ear. Oppress no one, but never live in fear. Don't bestow your deadly kiss, but do uphold your mighty hiss. You will be stepped on in the street if an ounce of dignity you do not keep." I hope ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਆਇਆ ਕਿ ਕੁਦਰਤ ਰਾਣੀ ਨੇ ਸੱਪ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਸਮਝਾਇਆ। ਸੱਪ ਨੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਸਾਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਦੀ ਸਮਝ ਆ ਗਈ। ਹੁਣ ਉਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਡੰਗ ਤਾਂ ਨਾ ਮਾਰਦਾ, ਪਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਉਹਦੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਉਹ ਜ਼ੋਰਦਾਰ ਫੁੰਕਾਰਾ ਮਾਰਦਾ ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹੱਥ ਨਾ ਲਾ ਸਕਦਾ। ਸਾਰੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਦੂਰ ਦੂਰ ਹੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ। ਲੋਕ ਹੁਣ ਉਹਦੀ ਇੱਜ਼ਤ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗ ਪਏ ਸਨ। ਹਰ ਰੋਜ਼ ਪਿੰਡ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਆਦਮੀ ਛੰਨੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੁੱਧ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਖੁੱਡ ਅੱਗੇ ਰੱਖ ਆਉਂਦਾ। ਬੀਬੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਜਦ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਗਲੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਵੇਖ ਲੈਂਦੀਆਂ ਤਾਂ ਦੂਰੋਂ ਹੀ ਮੱਥਾ ਟੇਕ ਕੇ ਦੂਜੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ। ਬੱਚੇ ਤਾਂ ਸੱਪ ਦੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਜਾਣ ਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਹੀ ਨਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ। ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੁਦਰਤ ਰਾਣੀ ਤੋਂ ਸਵੈ ਮਾਣ ਦੇ ਫੁੰਕਾਰੇ ਵਾਲਾ ਗੁਰ ਸਿੱਖ ਕੇ ਸੱਪ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਸਤਾਏ ਬਗੈਰ ਅਣਖ ਤੇ ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਬਿਤਾਉਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਿਆ। So people began to respect him now. Every day a man from a village would fill a bowl of milk and leave it in front of his burrow. If women saw him coming, they moved aside with their heads bowed. Children never dared to come near him. This way, by learning the virtue of self-respect, the snake finally started living a life of dignity and freedom without tormenting anyone. So as he sap da punkara. And like we were saying, we have, if you flip the page, you have the whole story in Roman Punjabi.
And then you have a glossary of hard words
and idioms, muhavre, ate okhish, lafzan di shabdavali. So you can learn hundreds and hundreds of words from these stories, difficult words, and teachers can use these as aids to quiz children and to encourage them to learn new vocabulary. So this was one of our books, one of our 9 books from Fascinating Folktales of Punjab. And I see Maninder has shared our website. Also, ਸਾਡੀ website ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ stories ਦੇ audio ਬਹੁਤ ਸੋਹਣੇ music background scores ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਕੇ ਪਾਏ ਹੋਏ ਹਨ. They are available for free download if you can't afford the books for any reason. But do buy our books because they are great collection for your children for all time to come. And do play the audio stories along with so they can read and they can enjoy the stories with wonderful music. We also have some free activity books to download on our website, www.folktalesofpunjab.com, which your children can color and they do crossword puzzles and so on. So this was a story, Sapta Punkaran. I had asked a question ki tusi dasso ki es kahani vich tonu Gurbani di kedi tuk yaad aandi hai. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us as well. So Rajveer Singh says, look at the top of the chat. Oh, I think they were answering a question where we can buy the books. So anyone, can you tell me ki Gurbani di kedi tuk yaad aayi is kahani nu sun ke? Okay, if nobody can tell, I'll tell. It's Pੈ kahu ko det ne pੈ manatan kaho nanak sun re mana gyani tahe bakhan. Nove mahle de slok vich. So fear no one, but frighten no one either. So pੈ kahu ko det ne pੈ manatan. So like we said, these stories have the values of our ancestors. और मैनू लगता है कि साडे बाबा जी बाबा गुरु नानक भी ए कहानियां ए बातां सुनदे वड्डे होए होणगे. सो ए कहानियां विच बाणी दी बोली और बाणी दी ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਕਦਰਾਂ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਬਕ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਖੇਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੱਚੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ. I hope you enjoyed the story and I hope you will connect with us. We have Facebook presence, Instagram presence, as well as we have a great YouTube channel ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਭਰ ਦੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ videos ਬਣਾ ਕੇ upload ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ on these books. So I hope you connect with us and enjoy these stories. Thank you. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you to the both of you, to you, Gurmeet Kaur, and to you, Liv Kaur. It was so lovely to have the both of you share these stories with everyone. Now we will be going back to Rapinder Kaur. Just to do a little introduction again, Rapinder Kaur will be joined by her son Jagat Singh, and they will be reading, singing, and discussing a kavita, a poem on nature. So if you guys could come right back, Rapinder Kaur, and I can share the slides with you all.
Okay. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sorry about that. I don't know technology, like Manvinder said. The camera wasn't working for some reason. But anyhow, as Manvinder said, my name is Rapinder Kaur, and I'm joined by Jagat Singh, my younger son. I work for American Airlines. I'm a pilot with them. I've been working for them for last 12 years. And Jagat is going into 5th grade. We live in Dallas, Texas. And today, ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਕਵਿਤਾ share ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, a poem. And the topic of today is world, Jagat. So ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕੀਤੀ ਕਿ ਜਗਤ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਇਸ world ਵਿੱਚ that we see a lot of is nature. So we decided to do a kavita on nature. So the title of the poem is Kudrat Diyan Saugaataan. Kudrat and thank you Harlit Panji for going over those few of those vocab words for us. Kudrat is, like you guys learned in Halapanji's plexers is nature. Diya are of, and Saugata is another one that you guys learned during the plexers presentation are gifts. So gifts of nature. So Jivat will be reading the kavita, and this kavita is by Omkar Sood. Omkar Sood poet ne kafi bal kavita mein likhiyan hoiyan ne poems for kids. They're easy read, but there are few vocab words that are that you might not have heard of. So towards the end of the slides, we do have vocab words that are a little harder, but Jivat will together be going over the poem itself. So with that, I'll ask Jiva Singh to go ahead start the reading the kavita.
So the title of the poem is Qudrat Diyan Saugata, and I'll be reading it today. Qudrat Diyan Saugata. चंद सितारे बड़े प्यारे बदल रुख प्रभाता आपने आपने बदली जांदे सुंदर दिन ते रातां फुल तितलियां मधुमक्खियां जंगल अते पहाड़ किधरे किधरे उगी हरियाली ते किधरे कोट उजाड़ नदियां पंछी पशु परिंदे बड़ा विशाल समुंदर किधरे नेरा किधरे चानन सूरज बड़ा कलंदर सोन सुनहरी किस्ना लेके ए आंदा जांदा नाच करे फिर सारी दुनिया जिद्दा ओन चांदा हवन कुंड दे विचों निकले जीकन गहरा धुआं ओवे ही धुंध सर्दी दे विच मल्ले आन बरूहां गर्मी सर्दी मौसम बदली जांदे अख झपके कुदरत गेड़े लांदी लांदी ना अक्के ना थके किधरे फुल्ला महका लाया किधरे रंग बिखेरे किधरे रौनक थोड़ी थोड़ी किधरे रता बधेरे अखा खोलो वेखो मानो मर्द फेरे चाहता मन मुखेरा मिल जांदा तक कुदरत दिया सौगाता मन मुखेरा मिल जांदा तक कुदरत दिया सौगाता.
Okay, good job, Jivat Singh. That was beautifully said, and I liked how you pronounced the words really slowly, so words की समझ आ जाए. There are which काफी words ने जड़े नवे ने. So as we go back to the beginning of the kavita, Jivat Singh, can you share with us? We heard a lot of elements of Qudrat, of nature. Can you go over maybe some of them and let the kids or adults who are watching, let them know what this kavita, what elements this kavita is sharing with us?
So the first two lines, Chan Sitare Bade Pyare Badal Rukh Prapata, is the moon and the stars are very beautiful, and there are like elements like clouds, there's trees, and there's like early mornings and dawn.
Prabhata, and this is something I had to look up also. First, I thought there were seasons, but Prabhata actually, and it reminded me of Prabhat fairies. They used to go with my parents. Prabhata are dawns, like early morning time. So it's talking about that early morning time. Okay, go on.
So apne apne badli jande sundar din te raatan. So the days and nights, they keep on changing by themselves.
Okay.
And then it says full titliyan madhumakkiyan, flowers, butterflies, and then madhumakkiyan, which we also did in the plexers. And so jungle ate madhumakya or bees, and so jungle ate pahad are like jungles and mountains. And then kidre ugi haryali te kidre kod ujad. So this says that there's some places there's like very green, like forests, but like some places it's very dry and non-colorful, like desert.
So it's amazing, like nature has some places you'll see it's just filled with trees and flowers, and some places it's just sand, right? Just udar, no flowers, no trees, no greenery. Okay, go on.
So there's also like more elements like sun, like moon, and like rivers, birds.
And then animals.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it also talks about Vishal Samundar. Samundar is what's mostly in our world.
Like nature.
Ocean, right?
Yeah. Ocean.
Water. Okay. Okay. So those are some of the elements of nature that we wanted to discuss with you. I'm sure there are plenty more that we see outside, but to move on with the presentation, Jivat and I were going over this kavita, and I wanted to bring in being six. Wanted to bring in, you know, कि ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ creator ਨੇ create ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ that are given to us by Vaheguru. How do these Jivat Singh, what can you share from Sikhi point of view that reminds us of how these are used, or how these were used by, by Sikhs?
So there's two gurus who use this. Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji and Guru Har Krishan Sahib Ji. One of them built a zoo so we could like appreciate animals and like their beauty, and sometimes you can use them for transportation. Like in Egypt there's camels, and some places there's like horses you can ride. And so one of the gurus looked into that, and then one other guru looked into like clinics or like hospitals, and like the clinics they would use like plants for medicine. So they helped others, and so these two gurus really looked into nature, and so they actually looked into nature and they used nature to help other people.
Yeah, so Guru Har Krishan Padsha te Guru Har Rai Padsha ne ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੁਦਰਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੁਦਰਤ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਕੁਦਰਤ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਵਰਤ ਕੇ we can make the world a better place, right? What else? So as we talk about today, ajkal jo ho raha hai Black Lives Matter protests, and coronavirus going on, everybody's stuck at home, all the kids are stuck at home, they're not able to go out and play with their friends and all that. Is there something from this poem that you feel can help kids who are watching, maybe to make them more positive in these low times?
So one thing you can do is like maybe you can like go in your backyard, maybe you have like a basketball hoop that you can play, and sometimes you might have like plants that actually like grow food that you can eat. Sometimes you can appreciate that, and also so you can sometimes, if you're allowed to, you can like go on walks, and sometimes what I do is like every other day I play with my friends in the neighborhood. With
keeping social distance, right?
Yeah.
Go out on your scooter and they're on their bikes. You guys just ride around and appreciate what's around you. What else? How else? I remember you were talking about our backyard and the trees that we have. What about that?
Yeah, so the trees, the trees really help us, because if there were no trees, then we won't have enough oxygen to breathe, because what trees do is they get carbon dioxide and they form it into oxygen. So that's it's really good that we have trees, or we wouldn't have that much oxygen.
Okay, what about, are there any trees in our backyard?
Yeah, so there's like all these trees, and then two of them, they're like not full, they're fully adults. They're like teenager in the tree life cycle, and then so they grow like they look like they're trees, and they grow the fruits, and they look like pears, but they taste like plums. So I still wonder what fruit they are. So yeah.
And then you like going out there and appreciating them, and maybe taking one out and eating them. Mostly if the squirrels don't eat them, but that's again part of nature, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of becomes their food also. So anything else that you would like to mention that might help those young kids who are watching to make them feel better?
So I have nothing else, but you can always come up with like more ideas, and like I remember in one other presentation, that was like a few presentations before us, they said not to fear because Guruji is always next to us.
Yeah.
So you can really like think about that and fear, and not fear that you're like gonna get coronavirus or like something like that.
Yeah, so like Rapinder Kaur was mentioning that, right? When he sung the Shabad, that Guruji is with us. And how do we know Guruji is with us? Is by looking at the things around us, right? And biggest part of that is the nature around us. So you can look at like titliyan outside, butterflies, or the madhumakhiyan, the bees buzzing outside, and appreciate what all happens around us, the cycles that these things go through, like garmi, sardi. We talked about winter and summer. And towards the end, I would like to just mention one more thing, that the last line of this poem, I thought, sums it up really nicely. Manu kheda mil janda tak kudrat diyan sogata. Personally, whenever whenever I'm down, it helps, and I know Jivat will agree with this, that when you go out on walks, or when you go out and go visit a place that's that has mountains, or sometimes during the cold winter time, you go to Colorado and you see all that snow. And personally, for me, when I'm in the cockpit and I'm flying, and we're at 35,000 feet, you appreciate. You look down and I appreciate how everything is working. It's just amazing, and it really fulfills your heart with positivity, with a lot of positive vibes, right? So that view in itself gives me the highs. It's enough caffeine to get me going during when I'm working. So look around you, appreciate what's around you, and always through that think that Vaheguru is, Guruji is always with you, and there's nothing to fear. We can go through these times together. With that, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Amazing. Thank you to the both of you. Thank you, Rapinder Kaur, and thank you, Divas Singh, for both sharing, giving those examples, giving us suggestions. I think those were really, really helpful. And I apologize, Divas Singh, if I've been pronouncing your name incorrectly. I think I've got it now. And thank you to the both of you for coming and spending this time with us. Now I'd like to take it to our last presenter. So lastly, but definitely not least, we have Rapinder Kaur. She's a registered psychotherapist and founder of Art as Therapy, a community-based therapy practice. Today, she will be guiding us through a nature art activity with the help of her niece, Serena Gore. So I'm just going to switch this over for her. As we wait for Rapinder Ji to join us, I would just like to let you know a little bit about today's nature art activity. Participants will be led through a fun and engaging art making activity using found nature objects and simple art materials to help them explore what both they and nature need to flourish and grow. So for this activity, perhaps before we start, everyone could kind of gather their materials. For this activity, you will only need access to basic art materials. So a couple sheets of paper, maybe markers, pens, pencils, pastels, simple paints, whatever you have around the house is all good. Some other options that Rapinder Ji has included are found nature objects, so leaves, twigs, sticks, or other nature objects. So if you're outside, you could gather those, or some scissors, glue, and tape. But yes, now on to Rapinder Kaur and to Serena Gore.
All right. Welcome. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. We are both, Serena and I are both delighted to be here and to be joining this wonderful Children's Day. And how's everybody doing? I hope everyone's doing really good. Do use the chat and let us know how you're doing with a smiley face or an emoji. How I was feeling this morning. I was feeling a bit tired this morning, but now that I'm sitting with Serena and I've been listening to the programming, my energy has definitely gone from being really low on the ground to quite high. How about you, Serena? How are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah, you feeling good? Energy's good? Okay, all right. So we'll get started. And like Manvinder said, if you want to gather some materials as we're sort of beginning. So what do we need, Serena?
We need some markers and some paper. And if you have like other objects.
Found nature objects?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can use them.
Okay, brilliant. All right. So before we begin, we wanted to make a land acknowledgement. So Serena and I live on a place, in a place called Canada. And I know there's lots of people on this chat from all over the world. And Canada is known by the first people, the indigenous people of this land, as Turtle Island. And they teach us the importance of land and how that we need to be grateful for nature and for the land. And even Guru Sahib teaches us about nature and creation and our connection and how we can connect to the divine energy that is inside us by being in nature. And we kind of heard a little bit about that from Jasmine Gore this morning. And if anyone lives in Punjab or has a connection to Punjab, then you'll know that Sadi Jiri Arti de naal jehdi sadi relationship hai bahut dungi hai. So we know that our relationship to land is really important. And Serena Gore, you grow some vegetables in your garden, don't you? What do you grow?
I grow some mint and zucchini, and I grow some peppers and some fruits.
Yeah. And Sarina Gore, why is nature so important? Why is it so important that we take care of nature? Why is that one of our responsibilities?
Because without the world, we can't eat, drink, or breathe.
Exactly. Yeah. So it is very, very important. So we sit on the treaty lands and the territory of the Mississauga of the Credit. Okay. All right. Mississaugas of the Credit. Okay. So what do we believe, Sarina Gore? What do we believe?
We believe
what kind of power do we have inside? We have creative art making power inside of us. So we're all artists. Sarina is actually not only my co-facilitator today, but she's also an artist. And Sarina, you teach me all kinds of things, right? All the time. Yeah. And we know from Guru Sahib that our inner power that comes from Vaheguru can get us through any challenge. We also know that, but how do we connect to that inner power, Sarina? How do we do that?
we love each other. We make sure people are feeling okay.
Yeah. And we do that through acts of kindness, and we do that through love, and we do that through seva. All right. Okay, so if you didn't get a chance to grab your sheet of paper or some found objects, then now's your chance. And we're going to be introducing our first art making activity. And what are some of the ideas behind art making? People can make art however they want, right, Sarina? Yeah, there's no right or wrong way to make art. So what we want you to do is we want you to just get comfortable in your chair or wherever you're sitting, and maybe we can take a deep breath. And if you would like, you can close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And I want you to imagine yourself as a tree. If you were a tree, what would you look like? What kind of tree would you be? Would you be a blossom tree? Would you be a fruit tree? And the tree can be tall, it can be short, just like humans. When humans come in different colors and humans come in different sizes, trees also come in different sizes. So we want you to imagine, what kind of tree would you like to be? And we would like you to either draw or create yourself as a tree. And so one of our examples was Sarina and I had been making a tree out of some twigs that we found on the ground. So we're going to give you about, how much time do you think people need? 5 minutes? Yeah, so 5 minutes to draw yourself as a tree. But one thing you have to make sure is you're going to leave some space around your tree, because we're going to add some other things. So if you can go ahead and do that, that would be wonderful. And Sophia, do you have an idea of what kind of tree you're going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
An apple tree.
You're going to be an apple tree? Okay. Is that because you love eating apples?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. All right. So you can start drawing. And we're going to give people about 5 minutes to do this. What colors are you going to pick?
So I would pick brown.
And I think Sophia's going for a traditional tree color. But the tree, we were talking about this earlier, and we thought that the tree could be unicorn colored, it could be rainbow colored, it could be white, it could be red, it could be pink, it could be any color you would like it to be. And I'm sure some of you are very quick at drawing, and if you are, and you've decided what kind of tree you're going to be, then please feel free to share in the chat, because Sarina and I would love to know what kind of tree you're going to be. And you can also use your imagination. You can kind of make it up too, right?
Yeah.
You could be a candy tree if you would like to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
I think I'd be a chocolate tree.
chocolate tree.
Yeah,
Yummy.
yeah. Dairy milk, I think.
Dairy milk.
hmm
That sounds
Yeah.
yummy.
I'm not sure what would happen in the sun though. It might melt a little bit. And Serena, I was just reading the chat. Jasmine Gore, she said that she eats strawberries from her backyard. Isn't that pretty cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really cool. And Jasleen also shared that Guru Har Krishan Ji used natural herbs and plants to make medicines and cures. Ooh, okay, so somebody said, I think Jasmine Gore liked the idea of a Cadbury Dairy Milk tree. We have a money tree. Well, that's a really good idea. My tree is going to be a toy tree. I think I like the idea of that. I think your brother Sahib would like the idea of a toy tree. I think he would probably have a Beyblade tree.
Oh, yeah.
I am a tree that grows purple jalapenos. Ooh, that sounds really lovely. And we have someone who said they would love a dairy milk tree as well. Oh, a maple tree. Yeah. I wonder if you guys live in Canada. Okay, so we're going to give you another minute, maybe. How's your tree coming along, Serena?
Good.
Is it good? Okay. All right. And remember to leave lots of space around your tree. And Serena, why are you going to be an apple tree?
Because I like to eat apples.
Right. And then you can eat them whenever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have someone else who said that they are going to be a bead tree. That's some amazing imagination out there. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to just give you another 30 seconds or so. Ooh, mint chocolate chip tree. That sounds yummy.
I really like these ideas, and they're so creative.
They are so creative. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next part of the activity. Now, we want you to know that if you're not finished, then that is absolutely okay. It's okay if you're not finished. You can always continue working on this afterwards, and you can always do another picture as well. So the next idea is, Serena and I were talking and we said, you know what, when we see trees, we don't usually see them by themselves, do we? We see them, they're usually with other trees, aren't they? They're always either in a wooded area or in a forest. And there's always lots of trees together. And it made us think about how when we're with other people, when we're with people that we love, with our friends, with our family, and that's been a little bit difficult at this time, but when we've been able to do that, that actually makes us feel better, doesn't it? It helps us to feel more loved and connected. And so we didn't want your tree to be alone. So we decided that we would ask you to draw or make trees in your forest. And we put community in brackets. And what we mean by that is who's part of your circle, who's part of your community, who is close to you. So this could be your friends, your family, your loved ones, your sangat. So we'd like you to go ahead and take the next maybe 5 minutes or so to do the same thing, is to draw some other trees so that your tree is not alone. And these trees can also, if you wanted to go one step and make these very imaginative trees, then you could decide what these trees could be. Yeah, so we had some other ideas. We had mint chocolate chip, we did that one. Yeah, we've got lots of different ideas. A rainbow tree.
Ooh, I like that idea.
You like that idea?
I love rainbows.
Yeah. What kind of tree would your mum be?
A British chocolate one.
A British chocolate tree?
Yeah.
What about your brother? What kind of tree would he be?
A Beyblade.
A Beyblade tree? And what about your dad? What kind of tree would he be?
He would be a marker tree.
A marker tree, okay.
He loves markers.
He loves markers. And think about one of your friends. What kind of tree would they be?
Minadi would be a blossom tree.
A blossom tree, okay. All right. Oh, someone said a phone tree.
Phone tree.
A phone tree. I guess then you could stay connected. Oh, I like this idea. Do you know what the next idea is? I think this is my favorite idea so far. Is an art tree. I like that idea. Can you imagine? I think I want to be an art tree. Then you could just go and pick all kinds of art materials. I think we also had a comment that in this presentation today, we've been talking a lot about trees, and maybe it's getting a little bit boring. I know, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, sometimes it can get a little bit boring. But I think trees are also, they're a metaphor for nature. Yeah.
And without trees, we can't breathe.
That is true. So maybe if you don't want to do trees, then you could also do, because you don't actually have to follow my instructions, you could do flowers instead, or think about something else in nature that you really like. Maybe you really like mountains, or maybe you like waterfalls, yeah. Or maybe you want to pick, what else? Plants, different kinds of plants. We could do animals as well. Yeah. Yeah. And somebody on the chat is saying that that we are sort of, our world is in a little bit about, our world is in sort of danger. It needs our help. It needs our support. And that we should maybe think about ways of better looking after the world.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we could be more than one kind of tree. Maybe, I think that's a really good idea as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can be lots of different kinds of trees. Okay. All right, so we are going to move on to the next one. And if you haven't finished, then that is absolutely okay. You can sort of keep going, and you can listen to the next activity. Serena, did you want to share what you've been drawing so far?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. All right. So we've got, so which tree are you? Are you this one here? The first one?
I'm this one.
Oh, you're going to be this one? You're going to draw one down here? Yeah? Okay. All right. Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, so now what we want you to think about, so you've got yourself, you've represented yourself as a tree on the piece of paper. And then you've also drawn other trees in your community, in your forest. And these trees represent the people that you love, the people in your circle. And what we want you to think about is, what do you and the trees in your community, the trees on your paper, or the trees that you built, what do they need in order to grow and in order to flourish and in order to be alive and well and connected? What do they need?
They need soil, love, sun, rain, water.
Yeah. Lots of different things. So we're going to have people think about that. And what you can do is you can write this down on your piece of paper if you like. If you want to draw some of these things, you can draw some of these things, but really want you to think about this. And please, if you would like to share, please share in the chat with us what you think is, what does your tree need? And what does your community of trees, what do they need in order to grow and to feel nourished and feel good and safe? Yeah. So we're going to have 1 or 2 minutes to do that. So we've got some chat, comments coming through. So we need worms, we need bees, and we need butterflies. And we think about the gurus, and the gurus made sure that whenever somebody came to the Gurdwara, whenever somebody was together in Sangat, that the first thing that they received was something to eat. That's why when we go to the Gurdwara, there's always food, there's always langar. And there was this idea that that every human being deserves to be looked after and taken care of. We need water, sunlight. We need candy with love. Yeah. And Serena, you were saying that too, right? What do we need? What do we need the most?
Yeah.
Is we need love the most, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we live in a world right now where sometimes as humans can be kind of mean to each other, and we can be cruel to each other, and we can be very unkind to other people. But if we use Guru Nanak's idea of seeing everybody as one, then we can give love to everybody the same. Okay, any more ideas of what we need, of what your trees need, of what your community needs? Yeah, don't cut down the trees, yeah.
Because if you cut down the trees, then if you cut down all of them, then you can't breathe, because trees help you breathe.
Absolutely, yeah. So we know that our gurus sacrificed themselves. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, for example, they sacrificed themselves, and they often say that they sacrifice themselves for other human beings. But I've also heard this idea that they actually sacrifice themselves for entire for Sisti, for creation, for the entire creation. So that's kind of where their sacrifice came from. And so what we're doing in the same way is in the same way that Indigenous people think about nature and land and our connection to it, they think about the whole thing. They think about the whole of humanity and the whole of creation and our place in it. And I think that Arti Shabd that we heard at the beginning of the presentation sort of reminds us that Guru Nanak Sahib was able to connect to the divine Jyot and the Akal Jyot that was inside them by being in nature. And so in order for us to feel good and to grow, we also need to be connected to nature, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're coming to the end of our time, I think, Manvinder. And I really hope that this activity was something that you enjoyed. I really hope that you could continue to add to your trees and to think about what it is that nature needs, but also to think what we need as humans and how we can live with love and kindness with each other. So we would love for you to keep in touch. I'm a registered psychotherapist, and I help young people and older people to learn about their emotions and their feelings, and to tap into the unlock and to help them to unlock their creative power. And so if you're interested in kind of what we do, and you'd like to follow us on social media, we have lots of resources and ideas of how to create art and how to connect to ourselves and our inner power. You can do that by going to the Art as Therapy Instagram page. And yeah, and lastly, we wanted, Serena's gonna share. Oh my goodness, Serena, what was the last thing that you drew there?
A bunny.
A bunny. Tell me about your bunny.
The bunny is named Laya.
Laya. Oh my gosh, that is fantastic.
Thank you.
What was that like? Did you enjoy making that?
Yeah.
And Serena Gore also wanted to remind everybody that always remember your divine given power, your Gal Jot that's inside you, and you can do absolutely anything. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you to everybody for tuning in and following us along. And I didn't say this before, but I hope the adults also took part in the art making, because we find that when you engage in the process of making something, it always makes us feel better and it always increases our energy. Yeah, okay. So we'll say Fateh, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you to both of you, to you, Rapinder Kaur, to you, Serena Gore, for engaging in this activity with everyone. And also, as Serena has already done, we'd love it if everyone could share any of the art that they've made. So either if you've made art because of this activity, if you came up with any plexers because of our earlier presentations, or if you've come up with any stories that you want to share with us, we would encourage you to send it to us via email at info@sikhi.org. I have put it in the chat, so all that information is there. Or you could also tag us on social media. We will be sharing this webinar with everyone within 24 hours, so you can share it when we post that, or you can tag us on social media. I've included our Instagram, our Facebook, and our Twitter there. So it's at sikh.research.institute on Instagram, and then at Sikhi on Facebook and Twitter. Again, thank you guys so much. This was such a lovely way to spend my morning. I think Children's Day isn't something that I was familiar with in Canada, but I'm so glad that I was introduced to this lovely event. Now, perhaps after we've engaged in all of these activities, perhaps now when we think of Jagat, when we look outside, when we're thinking about everything that we've learned today, maybe we can, think about everything that's happened today. We can pass it on to our friends. We can think about the world and engage with the world in new and different ways. I thank everyone for spending these 2.5 hours with us. You guys were so engaged. It was so awesome. And I apologize to anyone whose questions weren't answered. I think all this engagement shows that there's definitely interest by the children to have more of these webinars. So we'll definitely be doing more of these. And just to wrap it all up so you guys can get on with your Sundays, I'd like to let everyone know that our next live webinar is for Father's Day on June 21st. So maybe something more for the parents. We will be welcoming Inderpreet Singh, Jasdeep Singh Bajwa, and Dr. Jasjeet Singh and Dr. Gurbani Singh. So they're going to be talking about how Sikhi has informed their ideas of fatherhood, their challenges, their triumphs. What does Gurbani say about being a father? And how are they embodying these values? And lastly, please tune in to the Sikhcast, a podcast produced by Sikhi, where we explore the various issues and events affecting Sikhs worldwide. Thank you for joining in. Today's webinar will be ending now. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.